The morning sun filtered softly through the blinds, casting golden stripes across the hardwood floor of our small house in Portland, Oregon. I stood in the kitchen, pouring coffee into my favorite chipped mug, and for the first time in years, I felt a deep sense of calm. My son, Ethan, was coming home for the weekend, and that always filled me with a joy I could hardly put into words. Being a single mother wasn't easy. When Ethan's father left us when he was just 5 years old, I had been terrified. Terrified of raising a child alone, terrified of not being enough, terrified of the silence in the house at night when the responsibilities of the day weighed heavy on me. But Ethan had been my light. His laughter, his boundless curiosity, and his stubborn determination had carried me through the darkest nights. Now he was 19, a young man in college, finding his way in the world. He was learning who he was outside of me, but somehow, whenever he came home, I felt like we were returning to the rhythm that had sustained us for so long, just us two, mother and son, against the world. When Ethan walked through the door that Friday evening, his familiar grin made me forget the years that had slipped past so quickly. "Mom," he called out, setting down his backpack with a thud. I wrapped him in a hug so tight, I didn't want to let go. He smelled faintly of laundry detergent and the campus library, comforting and familiar in ways only a mother could recognize. "You're taller again," I said, tilting my head up to look at him. He laughed. "Or maybe you're shrinking." We both chuckled, and just like that, the heaviness of the world melted away. Dinner that night was simple, pasta with tomato sauce and garlic bread, something Ethan had always loved as a kid. We sat at the table, talking about his classes, his friends, and his dreams. He spoke about his plans to major in environmental science, about wanting to make a difference in the world. I couldn't have been prouder. "You know," I told him, "I always worried about raising you alone. But seeing the man you've become, I wouldn't change a single thing. We made it, Ethan. You and me." He looked at me with a softness in his eyes I hadn't seen since he was little. "Mom, you've always been my anchor. I couldn't have done anything without you." My throat tightened, and I had to blink back tears. The weekend unfolded like a series of snapshots I wanted to tuck away forever. Saturday morning, we went hiking on Forest Park Trail, a place we had visited countless times when he was younger. Back then, he would collect rocks and sticks, declaring himself an explorer on a great mission. Now, he walked beside me, taller, stronger, yet still with that same glint of adventure in his eyes. At one point, we stopped at a clearing overlooking the city. The wind rustled the trees, and for a long moment, we just stood there in silence. I realized then how much freedom I felt in those moments with him. No expectations, no pressures, just the two of us, sharing the quiet, unspoken bond of mother and son. "Do you ever wish things had been different?" he asked suddenly. I thought for a long moment before answering. Sometimes. But then I remember that if things were different, maybe you wouldn't be the person you are now. And I wouldn't trade you for the world. He smiled, and I could tell my words had settled deep in his heart. That night, after a long day of hiking and cooking dinner together, we curled up on the couch to watch a movie. Ethan had always teased me about my love for old black and white films, but tonight he indulged me, sitting close, sharing a bowl of popcorn just like when he was little. Halfway through the film, he leaned his head against my shoulder. It was such a small gesture, but it sent me spiraling back in time, reading him bedtime stories, holding him after nightmares, walking him to his first day of school. I realized then that no matter how grown he became, no matter how far life took him, he would always be my boy. Sunday morning came too quickly. I found myself in the kitchen again, making pancakes the way he liked them, slightly crispy on the edges, drenched in maple syrup. We ate together, laughing about silly things, avoiding the unspoken truth that soon he would be packing his bag again. When it was finally time for him to leave, I walked him to the door. The air outside was crisp, carrying the scent of pine. Ethan turned to me and hugged me tightly. "Mom," he whispered, "I'll always come back. No matter where life takes me, I'll always come home to you." Tears spilled down my cheeks before I could stop them. I hugged him tighter, not caring if I looked foolish. "You're my freedom, Ethan," I whispered back. "Only with you do I feel so free." He pulled back just enough to smile at me, and in that moment, I knew that no matter how far he went, no matter how much time passed, the bond we shared would never break. As I watched him drive away, I felt both the ache of missing him and the deep peace of knowing we were connected forever. Life hadn't been easy, but it had given me the greatest gift, a son who is not only my child but also my best friend, my anchor, my freedom. And in that quiet moment, standing in the doorway of our little house, I realized that freedom wasn't about escaping responsibility or chasing something far away. For me, freedom was the laughter, love, and unbreakable bond one shared with my son. Only with him could I truly feel so free.